Hey guys, Steve Morrill here, director at Success Publishing, and I wanted to take a few minutes just to come and spend some time with you. There's a lot of things going on right now, obviously, in the world that's going to change everything forever. And one of the things that Matt and I have been bringing together, not just with Success Publishing and how we have rethought how to actually help people gain that level of authority, persuasion, and influence, because it's important that the individuals that we find, the few that want to impact the many, the ones that want to do that greater good in the world, those individuals that are looking to share their insights of how they have fallen down over and over again, and then thinking about wanting to grab the white towel and say, man, this is it. I've been beat up and knocked down, a setback for so many times. I'm due. I'm just going to throw in the white towel. But then there's something there that's inside of you. It captures you, it freezes you, and you can't throw the white towel in, even though you're in pain, you're frustrated, you're in agony, and you just want to quit. But something whispers, something says something to you deep inside, something that you feel here causes you to take that white towel and put it back in, and then to find something inside of you that you find a level of strength when you felt there was nothing else there. And that secret that you have, that you possess, is what we are searching for. It's what we search the entire world for, is to find your story that resonates with a particular group of individuals in this world that my story won't, that Matt's story won't, that Tony Robbins or any of the other great individuals out there that are about helping individuals find their better version of themselves. But it's not every story connects to everyone else. That's why this is so important, is when we find those individuals like yourself that I've already connected with, that we've already done the interviewing process with, and we've already approved you to be a co-author. I'll tell you, it's something that I'll share with you quite honestly. It hurts. It hurts because when we find those few individuals that we have to go through thousands and throwing those individuals out, and then go through the hundreds that we actually interview, sometimes at as high as 50 a week, sometimes 12 a day. And you finish the day and you have so many great individuals that I've connected with, like you. And I hear your story, and we have agreed that we're going to work together. And I've notified Matt, hey, I have found another one that's going to make a difference, and we're going to lock arms. And then 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours later, we get the painful notice from you. I can't do it. I wanted to. Thank you for the offer. This is that missing piece of the puzzle that I haven't found. The reason why people might listen to me, but most of the time they're doing like this while they're listening. They're distracted. They're not paying attention. And as I share, like you said, your story, your insights, they don't do anything. They listen partially and they act never. And so you realize what Matt has defined as a grinder, that is who you are. And all of us have been in that stage where we work so hard and we pushing that boulder up the mountain every single day, like Sisyphus in the old Greek tragedies. And you're constantly pushing it up. And then the next day you wake up to find it back at the bottom of the mountain again. And you know you've got to go do the same thing every day. And you're doing it for the right reasons. You have the right cause in mind. You're doing something because it's part of your passion. It's who you are. It's why you do what you do. And you do this because it's from out of a love that you want to help other people. You want to help them change their lives, their careers, their family, their financial freedom, their personal freedom. You want to help them get rid of those things in life that are causing them pain and frustration and agony, alleviate that pain. So all of that is right. But yet at the end of the day, the grinders just feel like they're just, metal on metal grinding and nothing is happening. So, when Matt brought this idea in 2013, after he went through the process and survived, made it to that 3%, got published, and was able to actually make it work. What he found by making it work was also all the things that didn't work. Okay. And you know this, we've already had time together. You've already listened to Matt's VSLs. Hopefully, you're still connected with us on Facebook and on YouTube, and you've heard the details and the stories. He still doesn't own his very first book. $20 is what his sales price is. Over 300 of a month go out. And yet he still has to pay $12 to get a copy of his own book that he does not own the copyright for. He makes $1 royalty. That's when Matt got fed up. And instead of like most people that get fed up and get angry and then just gripe and blame and complain, he actually did something different. He started a company. So I'm going to do something revolutionary. I'm going to think differently. And that's how we come up with the system that instead of having to take 600 days, over a year and a half for the average author to go from the conception idea to actually holding the book in their hand, that actually starts being able to actually make a difference as them becoming a celebrity authority. And he shrunk that from 600 days down to 60 days after you have completed your chapter, turned in your photos, got your testimonials, and completed your bio. That is incredible. 600 down to 60. And what else did he do? Well, he took those 60,000 words. That's what it normally takes to publish a 250-page book. 60,000 words to get edited down, to reread over and over, back and forth with the editor and the proofreading teams. That's why you end up having to take over that year and a half to do all that. Time-consuming, costly, painfully agonizing, having to reread your stuff and see how somebody else has rearranged it over and over again. And then having that take 600 days and 60,000 words to finally get down to that 250-page book. In the middle of all that, conventional publishing, as you know, hope you've done your research, somewhere in the range of 35 to 50,000. Now, is it a good investment? We all know that it is. We know how it changes everybody that's the A game level. You look at all of them and you go, what's different about them than everybody else that's not at the A game level? It has nothing to do with their gender. It has nothing to do with their nationality, their level of education, their religious beliefs, any of those kind of things that everyone wants to come up with as excuses, because they come from everywhere. But the one thing you know that is the deciding and differential mark is they are published. That sets in people's minds a different perspective, that the individual that has taken the time to be published, that has taken and codified their story and has been able to have something that's worthy of being shared in words, it changes how other people see them. That's why you were attracted to what Matt was offering here to become a co-author. And what we know after we went through all this, like I said, the painful part of getting those notices from you that says, I looked it over, I dug in my piggy bank, I went to my savings account, I spoke with my spouse, I talked to my bank, I did whatever it was, and I couldn't figure out a way to make the system work. Even with Matt doing the financing program that he does, putting himself at risk, I couldn't find it. It wasn't in the cards, not now. So what we've always done, like I've told you we have, is we put you on a waiting list. Once you've been approved, then we don't make you go back through another approval process, because hey, what we want you to already know that you are the caliber of the individuals that we want to lock arms with and create a partnership, a lasting business relationship with. We just have to find the right timing. So what have we done here? We have found a situation in our world that is unprecedented. And what we're doing today is trying to think differently about the future, the frontier. It's not going to go back ever to the way it used to be. So those individuals like us that are learning how to think in different fashions, to come up with a way of thinking outside the 9 dots, are going to be those individuals that are able to make the great impact on the future of our world. They're going to be able to change people's lives, to bring hope and opportunity when there was none, when everything was evaporated. So we still believe that that is what you're here for, that that's what you're wanting to do. So we've been sitting here for the last number of weeks trying to unthink the normal way that we think. And we came up with something called the Author Incubator. And it's basically flight training. And I want to go back and talk about that very first concept that you and I talked about, or you might have seen the video before we got on a call together. And that was the thing that I kind of, I guess you'd call an analogy of how I look at becoming a published author. And I compare it to gaining a jet, your own personal private jet. And the reason why I use the vehicle of a jet is it's the only vehicle It's not a mule, and it's not a tank, and it's not a truck, and it's not a super fast Ferrari or Lamborghini or whatever, because all of those different vehicles have some level of limitation. Okay. The only vehicle that I'm aware of that is on our planet right now that can take you in a straight line from where you're at today to any destination you want to go is a jet. It's a plane. And a jet can get you there in the quickest fashion. Now, I use the idea of becoming a published author as the equivalent of getting a jet. And like I mentioned to you before, what most people, if they're able to get above the 97% failure rate of people that know becoming a published author is the game changer, but they fail because it's too much time, it's too much effort, or it's too much money. Those three things kill 97%. If you make it to the 3% and you're one of those rare individuals, then you're caught up with another obstacle. And that is, how do I now use the book to build my business? How do I use that position as an authority figure, that authority? How do I use that to influence and persuade, to capture and disrupt people's attention so that they're no longer sitting there texting and acting like they're listening to you? They're absolutely stunned and focused exactly on every word that's coming out of your mouth, on every insight that you're sharing, on the soul story that you are handing to them, and they're riveted. How do you cause that? How do you trigger that? How do you create a symbol of authority that is called a book? And how do you deliver that without the obstacles of the time, effort, and cost, so that we can find those few that want to impact the many and make that greater change in our world? So Matt and I figured out that the only thing that was holding you back was that thing called dineros, those things that called dollars, things called euros, things that are called whatever currency it is that is your home currency. And for whatever reason, you couldn't amass those. So we started asking the question, what if? And that's one of the greatest questions is, what if it didn't cost you anything? What if it were free? What if we could put you in an incubator system and create all the flight training showing you how to fly the jet that only 3% ever get? But then when they get it, they don't know how to fly it. So they're left with that other huge obstacle. Well, what if we switched it around? We took you to flight school, and over a 12-month period of time, you had an opportunity to learn everything that you need by being involved in a mastermind, by understanding social media, and by accessing on-demand training, so that you had a time to absorb, comprehend, and apply that information, so that when you're finished with the flight training, at the end of the 12 months, Matt walks up to you and hands you your book for no cost, and gets you not just published, but press released on the major media networks so that you are seen on ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. How could we do that if it were possible? Well, the first question is if we could do it, would you be in? And the answer is, I think, yes, you would. If we were able to take and change your life, giving you that level of authority, influence, and persuasion, and you no longer had to go to the bank, you no longer had to dig into your pockets, you no longer had to look for the open credit line, why would you not? Of course you would, because that is the one thing that we all understand is the missing element that changes how other people see you, how they see you inside their mind, how they create a relationship of trust. And that trust is built on how they know, like, and trust you. That's where the relationship comes from. They have to know you, that you are someone that's an authority figure, not an average and ordinary person, but someone extraordinary. They have to be able to like what you're about. I'm not talking about liking your pitch, okay? No, I'm talking about liking who you are in here. See, no one cares about what you're trying to sell until they know how much you care. You've heard that before. I think Tom Hopkins might have said that. So the point of the matter is the caring is they're wanting to know who you are as a human being. How do you relate to me? The key word in relationships. So the whole crux of this is too many people are trying to sell their product or service to get someone to pay for their opinion, okay? And that's not at all what Matt is talking about here. When he became a published author, what changed is people were relating to his story, how he started from living in his car and how he was having to go into these nasty bathrooms at gas stations. And sometimes he would find, a thunderstorm and get under a gutter at the back of a church somewhere. You heard his story. And that's where he was able to, hey, do it the hard way. So the few of us like you, like me, we all have our difficulties that we've all gone through. Matt's story resonates with a lot of people, and they're able to know about it because he became a published author. When you hold up that symbol of authority that you're published, it focuses people's mind. It disrupts their normal ADD that they're focusing on everything else. So that's what you already know this is. What we wanted to figure out is how could we deliver this? And so talking to Matt, I've had some people before going, I can't come up with this. Why don't Matt do this for free? And so we were thinking about this. And of course, trying to sit here and buy everybody's book for free is a recipe for bankruptcy. So we were trying to figure out, but if that were the only thing that were holding you back and we were able to take that out of the situation, would you immediately engage? Would you immediately head toward your legacy of making an impact, of writing down your story, your secrets, your insights of how you choose not to throw in that white towel, how you put it back in your pocket, how you figured out how to get yourself back up off of the ground, off of the setback, off of that devastating frustration, off of the pain and the agony of being defeated one more time, and how did you stand up again one more time and start putting one foot in front of the other that's got you to where you are today and that is heading you toward your objective and your goal of where you're going to be as your best version in your life. So I wanted to recap that because that's where we shared our time together. That's where I approved you on the 3 different levels. Number 1, that I had to believe that you were trustworthy, that I could trust you with my best friend's reputation. Going into a book and having Matt's image on the cover, that's showing that you are in partnership with him. 24 going on 25 years as an industry veteran in the entrepreneurial, in the direct sales environment is something that most people never achieve. And so we have to be careful of every single individual. And I've decided after having a conversation with you, studying your application, that you are that kind of person that will not only take care of your personal reputation, but you will not do anything that would be ethical or immoral that would jeopardize my best friend's reputation, jeopardize all of our reputation, because I'm in the book as well as Matt. And I go out and find 25 other authors that all of us are working together and are in the book together with your name on it, your image on the cover, your bio on the back. So that's what we deliver. What wasn't able to be done was the cost, the investment that it took to make it happen. So Matt and I have been sitting here saying, how can we think differently? How can we do something differently? Well, in the environment that we have right now, we basically, in 90 days from the day that you start with us, we're building out your jet, right? You're doing the chapter, you're writing your bio, you're putting the pictures together, and we have our graphics team and our proofreaders and editors and book formatter individuals that put together our Amazon accounts. All those things we orchestrate for you and do what is nearly impossible in everybody else's perspective and deliver a professional book. You've seen it on our websites, on many of our videos or whatever, and see author after author after author achieve what most believe is impossible and do it in a super professional way. But here's what happens. Most of our authors that come on board, it's almost as if they are learning how to fly by being thrown out of the back of a perfectly good plane and on their way down, kicking and screaming and having to put together all this information and then go through all the training that Matt offers in his mastermind, go through the social meeting. What do they do with the images and how do they place those and how do they do the build-up program to become a best-selling author in what we call momentum, and how are we properly breadcrumbing those concepts to individuals that are in your social media, that are your friends and your acquaintances, so that you don't just dump too much information on them all at one time, but you give them enough information to keep them curious, to continue to look you up in their feed every time, and then they see a picture of your book and they hear something about your announcement, and you're giving them just a little more peek behind the curtain, okay? That creates anticipation, that curiosity, that then when you finally do your book launch, you do your book party, that those individuals are so excited because you've built that level of anticipation that not only are they congratulatory toward your lifetime achievement, but they realize that you're accomplishing something that's on everybody's bucket list, but you're accomplishing it at a significantly younger age than what most everybody else does. And what that gives you is the opportunity at a younger age to use that impact, to use that symbol, to use that story. And that's the piece there that creates that liking, that they know you as a professional, they know you as an authority, they know you as a celebrity level of expert, but they then get to know about your story. They like you, and if we put it together properly, they fall in love with you. They fall in love with you as who you are as a person. Okay. The third part is the trust, and that's the part there that we put together the elements of other people putting together testimonials about you. They read that after they leave the jacket front cover when they're reading your PDF or they're reading your book or they're reading your Kindle ebook version, and they see these individuals read what they've said, and they're basically putting on their perspective like a pair of glasses, that they now see you through the eyes of those that have known you for years, maybe even decades. When that happens, it's another part of that transformation experience, and then they read your story. It is a wholly impactful, holistic opportunity for them to get to know you. When they get to know you, they have a relationship because they relate to you. Okay. So all of that process is what we go through basically in 90 days. We throw somebody out the back of the plane, and on the way down, okay, before they pop the chute, right, they're trying to figure out how to learn all this stuff, and they're spending that hours and every moment along the day that they can to figure out how to go through these things. And they're watching Matt's videos and watching my videos and reading different content. And inside of our mastermind group, they're talking with other authors and they're connecting with them. Well, what worked for you? And how did you do that? And what should I do in this situation? All that collaboration. It is a lot to do. Okay. I dare say that it's exhausting. And then to have your book launch happen. And, we thought that our best two individuals that did it back to back and made #1 bestsellers in less than a week, we thought that was the best that our authors had ever done before. And then just here in Easter, just last month, we had Peter Music out of Zurich, Switzerland, actually became a #1 best-selling author. He followed Matt's guide to the T, and he broke every record and became a #1 best-selling author in 24 hours. So that's the level of capability that we offer here. But what if we were able to give you the flight training before your jet showed up in the hangar? That's where we changed our question. What if we were able to do the flight training so then when the jet arrived, you didn't have to go through that expense that the jet costs? We publish you for free. We do the press release. We go through all the major networks. You will be seen on ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, all of that. So how do we do that, and what is that about? Well, going into the flight training is the different way that Matt and I thought about this in an entirely different way. And what it does is it gives you 12 months to go through your training, to cover the same content, to be part of Matt's mastermind program. And one of the more important things here that we're talking about is Matt's episodes that he teaches on building your business with your book. It doesn't matter what industry, you're direct sales, network marketing, if you have an accounting practice, if you're a doctor, if you're a solopreneur, all of those things, how people perceive you. Okay. How do you distinguish yourself from everyone else that's in the audience, everyone else that is your competitor? You have to do something that makes you extra, to be extraordinary, extraordinary. That's what we deliver, is that ability for people to change. They see you, they know, like, and trust you. They want to build that relationship with you. And that allows you to solve their problems, because when they ask you, hey, now that I trust you, here's what's causing me pain. Here's what my problem is. I can't figure out a solution and it's driving me nuts and I'm panicked about it and I can't sleep at night. Do you know the answer? Okay. That's when you get to step in and then provide a solution with your product and services in your great companies. Okay. So how do you do that? How do you set that posture? We use a private Facebook group. It's for members only. It's private. It's called Authors Only. And that has historically been a private group where Matt and myself and Bryson, we basically moderate that, and we provide content there, which I do on a regular basis. And Matt provides his training program as well as live Facebook Q&As. I do those Q&As as well. And you get a chance to collaborate with hundreds of authors from all over the world, from different walks of life, from different perspectives, that are taking what Matt's teaching, remember the coachable and teachable part, and they're taking what he's teaching and they're applying it. And they're coming back and saying, here's what my result is. And then I applied this and I did this and I got this result. So everybody in the group is getting that synergy, that collaborative value of everybody working together. And all of these trainings and brainstorming sessions, they give you a invaluable level of insight, so that as we're continuing to adjust and move and we find a storm, okay, then what Matt is doing by providing this is we're maneuvering around that. We're going a better direction, and we're figuring out real time, how do we actually impact and change what you're doing so that you continue to be at the best version of yourself, capable of impacting people with exactly what you're looking for, which is sharing your message so that people can listen and then they take action. Okay. So one of the other things is we have to have social media. Social is who we are as human beings. The media now is Facebook, it is Instagram, it is LinkedIn, and I'm trying to think of the other version that I'm blanking out on here. YouTube, YouTube. All of those are mediums of which people are coming and they're consuming information. They're searching for solutions. They're looking for results. And that is how you have to be able to build yourself with a level of reputation. And basically what Matt is providing is, it's called social domination is the name of the program, but it is that more than just theory. It is actually how he's built his 700,000 online subscribers and followers from all those different pipelines. So if you're wanting to learn how to build that, and that is something that you have to learn how to build, especially in a world now that is going to require social media more so than ever before, is how do you take, the level of knowledge as that you learn here, how do you take that level of authority and how do you deliver it through social pipelines so that people learn who you are online? What that does is it expands the impact. It expands the ability for you to connect to people anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be just people right here in your backyard like it used to be. So learning how to grow your business online and exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to post by someone that is an absolute consummate expert. Okay, that is exactly what this part of the training is about. Then we get down here to the on-demand training. This on-demand access is basically a curation, a collection, a amalgamation of other different experts that are teaching different types of things, everything from the science of authority that comes from concepts like priming and how to create bias, but how to create positive bias, how to create and prime the individuals that you're walking into a room, where you're walking into a training, or you're going into an online scenario. How do you set yourself up as your best version of yourself so that when they see you or perceive you through their mind's eye, you are giving them your best foot forward? You're not leaving it up to accident anymore. Okay, that's what priming and bias is about. And this is a science. Okay, how to do it. How to use newsjacking. Okay, newsjacking is an incredible concept on how to comment on stories that are already in the viral stage. And by you commenting on the right thing in the right way at the right time, as the story goes viral, your comments are going with them. So you get a level of exposure that is worldwide, connected to specific concepts, stories, news, insights, what you call them, events that are directly related and even sometimes indirectly related to what your products or services can deliver. That's what newsjacking is. It comes from an idea of news and hijacking, and it puts a combination of the words together, newsjacking, okay? And what that means is that you are knowing how to find the stories out there, knowing how to find the events that are in your wheelhouse, and then how to comment on those at the right time so that then people see you as the expert, as an author, as an authority figure that you're now commenting on. And next thing, you have journalists now connecting with you, wanting to interview you, people that are running TV, radio, online insiders, what you call them, influencers, They're now wanting to have you come on their show and talk about what it is that you are an expert at. That's how you make it into that next level. Um, there's other two things here is the art, okay, as opposed to science, the art of storytelling. How do you tell a story so that you take a person through the actual arc of a story in a proper way so that you are delivering your content to them? But people love stories, okay? They don't like facts and figures, they're too sterile. Science, all of us, went through it. We did our part. Some of us were better than others, but what we always enjoyed, I can remember back when I was a little kid, in kindergarten, you got your cookies and your milk, and it was story time, right? So we have this part about us as social beings. We love to hear the story. So how do you learn how to tell a story in a better way? Okay, we've created access for that, and then also the elevator pitch. Okay, I talked about that before. When you're using your book, it's not about pitching what you want to sell, but you can use the elevator pitch concept of how do you deliver in a 30-second to 90-second period of time what it is that you do, your value proposition. How do you bring value to a situation? How do you solve other people's problems? And how is it that you do that from something that's passionate, that makes a difference to you? And that's what keeps getting you up every single morning, heading you in the direction of making the world that better version of itself by you transforming yourself to be that better version. That's what we're talking about. So we put all this flight training together, and what we do is we build it into a 12-month program. We give you access for the very first time without the jet first. So what we are doing is we actually created a program that Matt and I put together, and it is purely educational as well as personal involvement, where you are going to be part of this. You're going to go through every level of this and gain all of the training and do it on a monthly subscription basis for just 12 months, 12 payments. Okay. That program is going to be $399 per month. It's the way that we designed this system to be as inexpensive, as a low threshold as possible, so that it's absolutely affordable for every person that wants to make a difference, that wants to build a legacy, that wants to create that ability to make the difference and to share their story. So we build this on an educational platform where you will have full access to authors only and everything else here. And you will gain the access. You'll go through all of the educational programs. It'll give you time to apply it, to get used to it, to ask questions about it, to be part of all the collaborative program of all the individuals that are already authors, that have been authors for maybe even years, as well as individuals that are just coming out of the box, and those that are actually jumping out of the back of the plane right now in the process, trying to learn how to do everything. So you get to see everything from the inside out without the pressure. And here's the cool thing about this. After 12 monthly payments, you are paid for life. So you have access to Matt's mastermind group, the only mastermind group that Matt has. You have access to that. It is paid for life. All of the education and access that you have, taken care of. You are now part, and I mean as a family member, of one of the most progressive organizations that's out there, because it's not about doing anything except building relationships. That is the key focus, that the only thing that we focus on. Becoming a published author, the book itself is simply a pedestal that Matt, figured out how to do. He figured out in an actionable fashion. When people have a book, see if I can find my book here. When people have a book, it is not about the book. The book is the pedestal that grabs their attention, that you hold up a symbol of authority. But what it does is it showcases you on top of this instrument. This is the vehicle, this is the jet. But you need to know how to fly the jet. Yes, our other system that is $4,997 or 6 payments of $997, that is getting ready to go up. It has to with everything else. It is just the cost of things that happen. Things get more expensive. There's a whole different world right now that's happening right now. But here's what we're doing. We figured out that this, for individuals that have already been approved and are basically authors in waiting, that we're going to put you into the educational process now. So I don't know how long this offer is going to be open for. I can't make that guarantee because Matt has the right to, let as many individuals in it as we can handle right now. But I think that this is a capability for you to guarantee that you are not only educated now, but when you finish your 12 months of education, Matt will gift you. I said gift, like give you for free. No strings attached, no other payments, no other costs. You will be given your book, and it will be released on the major networks that you will have the press release on ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. And it will be as if you jumped out of the plane earlier and had to figure out how to do everything in 90 days, except now you've been educated fully over 12 months. At the end of 12 months, your education subscription is over. You have paid $399 for 12 months. And at the end of that time, Matt then gifts you your book, takes care of the press release. Done. Now, you continue your training because that is just the skyrocketing, the leaping off point, call it the springboarding. But you've had time to practice and become very good at every aspect that most of our authors are so focused on the speed of how quickly can I get published. They don't have a chance to go through the education, so they don't get to fully capture everything that they need to do. They don't have time to figure out how to do all of these elements here. Why? Because they're all trying to figure out, well, my book is coming out here in X number of days, and I just finished writing my chapter last week, and now I've only got 60 days until I'm done. So I'm so rushing toward everything that they don't get to optimize everything that Matt has figured out over the last 12, 13 years. So that is the really extraordinary insight that we got, that was aha. And we said, wow, we can make this absolutely affordable for every single person. And I mean affordable so that at the end of your 12 months, your book is free, your press release is taken care of, and you actually know how to fly your own jet. Yes, of course, Matt will still be co-piloting it with you. Anytime you have a question, that's what the mastermind is about. But you already know how to plot your course. You know how to put on the headgear. You know how to taxi your jet out of the hangar. You know how to find the correct runway, the one that you take off on, not the one that someone's trying to land on. Okay. How do you get to your cruising altitude? How do you choose your destination? And then how do you make sure that you're taking the most direct path there? That's everything that we're providing for. So I'm excited about this. I'm blown away that we were able to figure out this out of the box solution. So I hope you're absolutely as excited as we are. What we have here is the links below will actually give you that insight, the order page that you can engage. And here's the cool thing. It guarantees that you are going to be published. Okay, it guarantees it. And that's guaranteed to you that when you finish your 12 months of training, that the book is published, and that is the guarantee element. Okay. Now, some people say, well, what happens if I decide to accelerate my training? What if I want to do all my training in a shorter period of time? Can I accelerate that and maybe get it done in 9 months, or maybe I get it done in 8 months? Can I do that? And the answer is, we don't see why you can't. You're just going to have to find the time. But if you want to do that, and you want to accelerate your educational program, your amount of intake, the number of classes that you're going to, and you can do that by accelerating your payments, yes, all those things are available to you, so that at the end of that time, you have paid for your education program. You've decided to compress it. So you're building basically a financing program, but it's building it on your terms, on your capability of affording it. Okay. So all that's there. It's super exciting. I appreciate you taking the time to think through this, because, I think the thing that I don't know, I guess it's one of the greatest things that I fear. And that is the statement that I heard one time. And that is that hell is meeting that version of yourself that you could have been, that better version of yourself. And, if you've read my story, that's kind of part of what I perceive is the thing that's kept me moving through my difficulties in life when everything was lost. And I mean everything. And, if you've heard my story and I've told it, I tell it inside the Authors Only program if you haven't, so you can check on that later. But, I was at the point where I wasn't just going to throw in the white towel. I was going to throw in the permanent white towel. You know what that means. because everything, all hope was lost. Everything that I loved was disconnected. Everything was taken from me. And it was a pure position of abandonment, betrayal, and loss. And the thing that kept me going was thinking about how my children are going to write something on my gravestone one day. And my two children mean everything to me, like I'm sure yours mean to you. So, how they decided to think about my life, about how I performed while I was here, was very important. And I had a choice of two different gravestones. And one of them says, "Here lies a common average man like everyone else." And that was one of the things that I saw in my mind, that my children sit there and said, "Yeah, he threw in the towel. He had a bad hand handed to him. The cards didn't play out right. So he quit. He quit, he caved in, and he gave up like most everyone else." That's who my dad was. And I'm embarrassed that I have to write this on a stone, but that's the truth. But then there was that other version, and that other version didn't have as many words. But the one word they wrote on there was significant, and that word was worthy. And that word right there in my darkest hours, when I wanted to quit the most, was seeing that word on my gravestone, that my children saw my life, that what I did, and despite the number of setbacks and the mistakes that I made and the attempts that I thought were well intentioned but failed, that every time that it happened and every time I got chewed up and broken up, I figured out how to get myself back up one more time, dust it off, wipe off the wounds, and then keep moving forward. And there's a great line that I love, comes out of one of the Rocky movies, Rocky Balboa. And he says, "It doesn't matter how hard you can hit, but it only matters how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." And that's really what that concept meant to me. That's the definition of worthy. So that's my message, and that's the answer to that fear, that thing that haunts me, is that hell is meeting that version of yourself, that better version of yourself that you could have been. That's meaning that this isn't going to happen in my life, that this is going to happen. I don't want to be this guy that ends up meeting the better version that won this trophy that his children said he was worthy. So that's my story. You have your story. It's time for you to be able to share that. We have created a pathway, a method that is the most affordable training program. It's called Flight School. It's called Author Incubator. And it's the system that will guarantee that when you are fully trained and ready to fly your jet as an author, that Matt is going to gift you that for free. So I'm excited about it. I hope you are. Below also is my email address. And I hope that you will take the time to shoot me an email and say, "Hey, Steve, this is exactly what I was looking for. What this opened up for me, the hope and the dream that I had of becoming a legacy. You just made it happen." And I'll share those with Matt. So I hope you'll take a chance and some time just to let me know what this whole program means to you. And if this, in fact, is the solution that we hope it is, I hope you'll take the time to just send me a couple lines in an email. And then, of course, the option that we have here as well is the actual order form. So if you want to lock that in and make sure that you are on your path to creating that legacy, to be building relationships at scale by becoming an expert celebrity authority, then that's what we have built for you. That's the dream that we are making available to individuals like yourself all over the world. So I'm super excited. I know you are. Let me hear from you, though. I appreciate your time. Thank you for your attention, and we'll be talking again soon.